think a fully fit Liverpool team squad can go the distance.
No doubt in my mind that Liverpool can win it.
I think it comes from the top. I think in a way it's almost better when you play really hard teams all the way through because you earn it.
So are we disagreeing with the notion then that after that draw, Arsenal are already in the final?
Listen, they've definitely got the favourable draw, but I think you can't disrespect teams at this stage of the competition.
A lot of people have said on the back of the draw, that's it, they're in the final.
You've been on social media, haven't you?
Welcome along to The Breakdown. I'm Darren Fletcher. We're going to take a look in this episode at the last 16 of the Champions League and the games for the English clubs, in the company of Owen Hargreaves, Steven Gerrard and Ally McCoist. Owen, let's start off with Arsenal. If you want to be in any half of the draw, you want to be in exactly the spot that Arsenal are in.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. Sometimes you need a bit of luck. Do you know what I mean? Maybe you earn that luck. Obviously, they've been brilliant in the Premier League and the Champions League, but obviously Leverkusen, you have to respect them because they've got great pedigree and great history in the competition, but Arsenal, surely they'll have too much for them. They actually played really well at the Etihad, played quite aggressive football. They look to always play out, get the ball down and play, and they've got some really good young players in the middle of the pitch. They spent that Verts money actually reasonably well, but I can't see past Arsenal winning that quite comfortably.
Ali, we've said that we like this new format.
Yeah.
You explained it superbly well to everybody via trains, planes and automobiles last year. When I saw this, though, I thought it looks a little bit like a Europa League passage, not a Champions League passage for Arsenal.
Well, I would disagree with you straight away. Yeah.
Really?
Because,
based on the teams they're going to play?
Well, you can't have it both ways. Bodo Glimt have been out of this world. Fantastic. So you're saying if you replace them the team that they knocked out, it might be more to your shooting, but they're there in merit. I don't care what anybody says. That's the story. That is the story. It's one of the stories of the tournament so far. It's brilliant.
And that Astro pitch as well.
Absolutely brilliant.
Not going to be nice playing that.
No.
Nobody fancies going there, mate. They are absolutely there in merit. I take your point, but I don't accept your comment that it's more like a Europa League. I don't take it at all.
So if they could get to a Champions League final by beating Bayer Leverkusen, Sporting Lisbon and Spurs, and then you're in the final of the Champions League.
Yeah,
but I think they deserve that, don't they?
Yeah. The point I was making is, though, you know, if there was a bit of jeopardy, if that was a draw, as it used to be, you've got the opportunity to potentially run into somebody else. Do you like the fact that you can see everybody's route to the final from here? Do you like that?
I don't mind it. I genuinely don't mind it. I know it's not like the original cup competition, names in the hat, but that's not going to come back, whether we like it or not. You know, the first European Cup, whether it was 16 names, that's the way it goes. That's all changes. You forget that. Bodo Glimt, I think the last 4 European games, you might tell me I'm wrong, they've beaten Atletico Madrid, Inter Milan twice, and Manchester City. That ain't bad.
All right, you've made your point.
The thing is as well, though, these games, they become even more difficult on the back of obviously a title running as well. You know, when you're coming off the back of really difficult Premier League games, you know, maybe not as strong as they look on paper, but when you think you could be playing Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, very little recovery time. So
are we disagreeing with the notion then that after that draw, Arsenal are already in the final?
Listen, they've definitely got the favourable draw, but I think you can't disrespect teams at this stage of the competition.
And it's not a bank.
You've got them in the final.
This is the consensus was when the draw was made. A lot of people have said on the back of the draw, that's it, they're in the final.
You've been on social media, haven't you?
No, there's absolutely no way you can say that. None whatsoever.
So are you saying that's a potentially tricky run for Arsenal?
I expect them to.
During the Premier League title run, it could be.
Yeah, I would expect them to go through to the semi-final, and then you could be playing Barcelona.
Yes.
Let's be honest.
That's when it stiffens.
Barca are brilliant on their day, aren't they? Barca could beat Arsenal.
Atletico Madrid are no pushover
exactly.
at that stage of the competition. And if you think about it, you could be playing a really tough Premier League game. Two, 3 days before it, North London derby.
Yeah.
Arsenal City's coming up pretty soon. It starts to get a little more complications than it actually looks on paper.
Okay, so that's Arsenal. You think it's going to be trickier than I do at this stage. I really...
Well, not saying they won't get there.
I think if I'm Mikel Arteta and they give you that, you say...
Oh, he's ecstatic.
We'll get to the semi-finals. We're not arguing against that, but it's not a gimme. I wouldn't say it's a gimme at this stage.
So what about Manchester City then? So they've got Real Madrid, and it's going to be the 16th time that they play against each other. 5 wins each, 5 draws.
I think it's a 50-50 game.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a 50-50 game.
50-50?
Yeah.
Based on the form that Real Madrid are in right now.
And based on those stats, what you just told us, 5-5 and 5, I think it's one of them.
But we've got to deal with what we're seeing from Real Madrid at the minute.
Yes.
They were being booed and jeered against Benfica. They weren't. I was sat with Macca in the stadium, and they weren't far away from the white hankies.
I think City
at
this stage of the season as well, I think they've recruited really well in January, and this is where the machine starts rolling.
Yeah.
I think now, I think pre-January, I'd probably edge towards Real Madrid, but now, this stage, I think they're going to hit some form, and I think it's a genuine 50-50 game.
Owen, talk to me about Real Madrid then, because you can see a lot of holes in the team, especially when Mbappe doesn't play. That there is a theory that his goals have covered over a lot of cracks in that team. Jude Bellingham's injured as well at the moment. When Manchester City played them in the league phase, it was only 2-1, but it was wider than that on the night. Do you see any reason for optimism from a Real Madrid perspective, or do they look like a Real Madrid team that needs major surgery in key areas?
I don't think they need major surgery. I think City are favourites, and I think they'll probably win. I remember speaking to Ruud van Nistelrooy about this once, and he said Real Madrid's one of the best clubs in the world when you're winning. When you're not, it's different. Politically, everybody's coming out the corners, and everybody has an opinion. You look through, they've gone through a manager, they've got an interim. You know, you don't really have a clear identity on how they're playing. You've got all this chopping and change. You've got some really good young players that, you know, so I just think that must be really difficult to be in that dressing room, because that club is so used to winning. And I think even the fans will be watching thinking, what is this? It's obviously second in La Liga. I don't think they're favourites in that, but because they have Jude and Vinny Jr. and Rodrigo and Mbappe, Courtois, mate, I wouldn't bet against them guys.
I mean, they haven't. That's the problem.
They have to be at full strength for it to be a 50-50. That was my opinion.
Yeah, this is
where
the issue. They've got a lot of those players out.
They've got to get the best team on the pitch to have a chance, I would say, yeah.
You see, I would say, Ali, looking at this, having covered this Real Madrid team over a lot of seasons where they've won 3 in a row and then multiple Champions Leagues in the last few years. They've been the dominant European team. This looks the weakest Real Madrid team that I've seen for a hell of a long time.
Right, I don't necessarily disagree with you, right? And I think the boys make valid points, which are key. I think they've got to be as strong as they possibly can. I don't think there's an awful lot between the teams. I'd probably edge towards City, but nobody has mentioned, you touched on it there, and I still think it's a big, big thing. It is a difficult place to imagine to play when things aren't going well, but their history must come in for something. Their history in that tournament, we've just mentioned it, they do well.
It's some team on paper as well when you go through it, full strength.
It's not in midfield though, Stephen.
But they do well in the Champions League.
But if you can get Valverde into the middle of midfield,
well, he played
with
there against
Tchouaméni and
Benfica.
Jude,
Yeah.
you're not like that. You're not like that midfield, because I really like it.
That's as good as City's, isn't it?
I really like
But
it.
I don't think Bellingham will be fit for the Manchester City game. So the likelihood is
Both of them, or
Arda Güler would be in there, Valverde will be in there.
if they're not full strength, I think it's a different conversation. I agree more with Owen that City would be favourites over the 2 legs, but full strength on paper, I wouldn't back against Real Madrid.
I don't worry about the midfield or the attack. I worry about kind of the centre-backs. You think about Erling against Huijsen, who's a terrific player, by the way, but he's still a young man, kind of in a Champions League competition. And they played the other young lad, didn't they? Sensio.
Yeah.
You know,
Sensio was injured.
Rudiger
against
would have to
Benfica.
be fit, wouldn't he? You'd have to have Rudiger
but if you've got
available.
Rudiger, Alaba, I just think that's completely different, or Militao. But if you're going to play 2 young kids really good against one of the best in the business in a knockout game...
What about Liverpool then? So we've just spoken about Real Madrid's history in this competition. Liverpool have got an excellent history in this competition. They've got Galatasaray. You'd make Liverpool favourites over the 2 legs. Can this be the competition that turns Arne Slot's season into a really successful one, Stephen?
100% if you can go all the way. I think from a Liverpool point of view, it'll be interesting if they can try and consolidate a top 4 or 5 where the pressure's off there, then they can prioritise the Champions League. And I think a fully fit Liverpool team squad can go the distance. But I think it'd just be outside the favourites. Maybe just outside the favourites, just because...
They could win it. There's no doubt in my mind that Liverpool can win it. They've got the pedigree to win it. I don't think they've been firing on all cylinders this season. Absolutely. There's been 1 or 2 reasons for that. But I also think...
They'd have to keep the best team available and fit.
Is that a potential problem for him? Because he's also got to make sure, the manager, that they're in the Champions League next season. If he's got to be picking his best team in the Premier League as well.
I would say that's a priority. I'd say it's a priority, especially after the spend last year, that they'd have to finish in the Champions League places. But I agree with Ali. They've definitely got the pedigree and the players to go toe to toe with any of them teams on the board.
I take your point. Looking at the bottom, you've got some unbelievable potential quarterfinals.
Crazy, I know.
The top half is ridiculous.
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 I mean, it's remarkable, the standard of club.
I mean, look at Bayern Munich as well. I mean, they're in a really good place, you know.
I'll be honest. I don't think I think like Liverpool. I don't think they have the depth. So if they're missing one or two, Bayern, I think they
have a big impact.
They have a big impact. But right now, I'd say Bayern are the most dangerous team in there.
Any threat from Galatasaray?
Yeah,
Liverpool?
I mean, Osimhen's on his day, he's an absolute beast, isn't he? And he could cause, especially Liverpool, they've had some issues defensively.
And they've already beaten Liverpool in the competition, so that'll give them a bit of confidence.
They did, but Liverpool were in a really tough place at the time, I would say.
They won't look at it like that, though, will they?
No, listen, I think Galatasaray will fancy it, of course they will, over two legs, but I fancy Liverpool to get that job done.
Definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
me too.
I agree with you. I think at the start of the tournament, Liverpool clearly went. I'm not saying they're flying totally now, but I still think it's a different Liverpool.
They're more efficient now.
Do you think he'll rely on obviously Mo and Alisson and Van Dijk, kind of the lads with you've been at, like with the experience of lads? Come on, if we're not at our best, get us out of trouble.
Yeah, I think them two are huge. Alisson and Van Dijk, they have been for many years. I think obviously Salah, his form this season hasn't been the same as last season, but I think he is capable of turning it on. And you know, Liverpool have got the players and the pedigree as it goes on to get better and stronger, in my opinion. And then if they start prioritising it because they've already sorted the league position out for next year, Liverpool can be dangerous in it.
Can Chelsea get back to that level though now?
I think it's a bigger question. Can PSG get back to the level they were at last year?
It'll be a goals feast,
It will be, won't it? It will be.
That's the popcorn one, isn't it?
Who's winning it, Aaron?
Too many good teams in this conversation.
What about PSG and Chelsea? So that kind of takes my mind back to the Club World Cup final.
Yep.
And that brilliant performance by Chelsea. Enzo Maresca got them pressing, got them running about. Brilliant.
Chelsea were out of this world. There's no doubt about it.
Can Chelsea get back to that level though now, as they are under Liam Rossini against this PSG team
I
in
think
this
it's a
tournament?
bigger question the other way about, mate. I think it's a bigger question. Can PSG get back to the level they were at last year?
Yeah.
Because I think if they can,
They're unstoppable.
Yeah.
At that level and that performance in the final, that wins it.
It's as good
again.
as I've seen.
Yeah.
I think so.
It wins it again.
Yeah. That's as good as I've seen in a long, long time.
I agree, yeah.
That final we were at last year. I mean, that was an unbelievable 90-minute performance. Incredible. And they haven't hit the heights, I get it, so far this season. But if they can, I think it's a big ask for anybody.
So how did Chelsea go about it then? Because the last one-off game that we saw them in, so to speak, was the League Cup semi-final against Arsenal, where they didn't lay a glove on Arsenal away from home. They were extremely passive. How do they go about stopping Paris Saint-Germain and getting through that tie? Because they've got to be completely different than they were in the League Cup game against Arsenal. Otherwise, they're going to get rolled over playing.
I think they've got the hardest tie in the last 16.
Chelsea?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I do.
Do you know what they've got to do? Kind of obvious thing to say. They've got to stay in the game. They've got to take... Probably the most rattled I saw PSG might have been... Was it Villa Park?
Villa Park.
Right. So that's where...
On the front foot.
Yes.
Remember at Newcastle as well, weren't they?
That's right.
Yeah.
I think Chelsea have got to give themselves the opportunity to be able to attempt that at Stamford Bridge. No use having a go at them over in Paris and losing 2 or 3. If they can come back to the bridge and they're still in the game and they can play in the front foot really aggressively. I mean, it's a big ask because they're an excellent side. But I think that's the best chance.
But also, Liam knows because he's played them 3 times last season, drew 1, lost 1 and won 1. So and that was with Strasbourg. So imagine he's got much better players now, Cole Palmer and Estevao and Neto and João Pedro, Andre Santos, who I think is a terrific player, obviously Caicedo. And I think Liam, he'll have a little plan for it. Obviously, PSG.
Are they good enough to stop PSG
I know.
from a defensive point of view?
I think the biggest question about is still the keeper. Obviously, I think at the top of the pitch they've got some brilliant players.
You'd say the same about both teams.
Yeah, true. PSG have the same issue.
Chevalier struggled.
Yeah.
You cannot win the Champions League without a world-class keeper.
By the way, PSG probably get rid of the best goalkeeper in the world.
Yes. Yeah. On PSG, I mean, we spoke about this. We went over to the Parc des Princes, they played Newcastle, and we looked at the numbers, the amount of games that they've played as a team and that the players have played individually. If we looked at Bradley Barkley, who plays all the games for France at the same time, and I think when they played Newcastle, it was his 97th game since the start of last season. So he's way past 100 now. He plays all the time. Can they get back, Stephen, to that team that we saw last season, just based on the fatigue and the amount of miles on the clock for that group of players? They've hardly had a rest. They're maxed out in games, and when you watch them now, they're not quite as dynamic as they were at this stage.
They haven't hit that level.
Season.
They haven't hit that level, and I agree. The keeper's a huge decision allowing him to leave. I don't know whether it was a contract dispute, but he could be the difference in City getting there and getting it done, because we've seen him against Liverpool last year, some of the saves he made, and he's a world-class goalkeeper, and that could be the difference when it gets to the latter stages. But I still think PSG are quite a distance off being at the very best. But if you get their full fit players all available over 2 legs, that's a difficult time.
I think the one guy they miss, even though he's probably not their best player, he's probably one of the last on the team sheet, is Fabian Ruiz. Vitinha and João Neves, 2 of the best young midfield players in the world. Obviously, they were off the scale in the Champions League final. But I think he just has a bit of know-how and experience.
Yeah.
You can pass it to him at any time. I think him not playing, even though he's not the best, I think he kind of knitted it all together a little bit.
Let's have a look at Newcastle-Barcelona then. I think if you want a romantic tie, this is it, isn't it? I mean, first leg at St James's Park. So
there'll be a lot of high lines.
I mean, it could be anything, couldn't it? I mean, you think about. We saw it earlier in the season. Marcus Rashford was brilliant. Newcastle at home in the first leg. That's big, isn't it? They've got to maximise that.
The thing is with Hansi's team, they play brilliant, but they give you a chance with the high line. And Gordon's been amazing in the Champions League. And you think you'll probably play him. Alanga, they'll have pace. With that high line, all they got to do is bend the run. Honestly, the amount of times imagine they had something like Stevie just pop.
It's a goal feast. It's going to be a goal feast.
It will be, won't it? It will be.
That's the popcorn one, isn't it?
Well, we saw them. We saw Newcastle play against Karabakh, who incidentally were diabolical when they played with high line. But also, I don't think Barcelona, they'll play with a similar high line, but I don't think they'll play as poorly defensively.
And will Flick never change?
No, never. No, he won the Champions League with Bayern playing that way. That's his way. I mean, it work when it's good. It's amazing, but I just think you still need to defend to win the Champions League. You need to defend properly.
Is this the most unpredictable of all the ties? Because we've seen Barcelona the last 2 years being knockout matches deeper in the competition where it looks as though they've got it won. And then somehow they managed to capitulate defensively and they're out and they've not made the final. I mean, Newcastle, you've made the point that you could quite clearly score multiple goals in the first leg at St James's Park and over there.
I would, but I don't think it's the most unpredictable of ties, because sadly for Newcastle, I think Barcelona win the tie.
Yeah.
I think Newcastle go through, so I don't think it's as unpredictable. I hope I'm wrong. Clearly I want Newcastle to go through, but I can't see by...
See, what I would say to you by way of argument is that when the half-time whistle blew in the stadium last season against Inter Milan, if I would have said to you then, they won't go through here, Barcelona. Yamal was obliterating poor old DeMarco at left back. And I mean, you couldn't see any other outcome than Barcelona winning by about 6 goals.
I know.
And then when you looked at the final, Inter Milan were in there, Barcelona weren't, because they've got that Achilles heel. Everybody's up on the halfway line, you can score against them.
I think that'll hurt them further on in
the
competition.
But not now.
I'm just not sure. I really like Eddie Howe, big, massive fan. I'm a fan of Newcastle as well, but I think they've got so much firepower.
Right, we've got to finish with predictions. Who's going to win the Champions League? I know you like Bodo Glimt, so we'll get you last. Owen, who's going to win it?
Do you know what? I mean, Arsenal they do have a big advantage on that side, don't they? I mean, you'd have to say, but
you've still got to play one of the top half in the final.
I'm with Stevie. I think it comes from the top. I think in a way it's almost better when you play really hard teams all the way through, because you earn it, you proper earn it, and you're just on it the whole way. I think Paris will beat Chelsea. I think Liverpool beat Galatasaray. I think City will beat Madrid, and I think Bayern will beat Atlanta for sure. And then those games, you literally flip a coin. But I think Bayern. I think if PSG find some form, they're the best team. But for whatever, I have a sneaky feeling Bayern, that front three with Neuer, I just think.
I think Bayern and Liverpool could be the ones that people don't think can get there, and I think they can.
Yeah.
So come on, I can't have these. I can't have you just giving me the draw. I need a winner. Who's winning it, Owen?
There's too many good teams in this competition. I'm going to say I think Paris will win it.
Are those splinters hurting you sat there?
I think Paris will win.
Right.
I think they're going to get fit.
We got there at the end, Stevie.
Yeah, I'd probably be pushed that way as well if they can get everyone on the pitch.
Paris
if they can get everyone on the pitch.
Actually, with the keeper though.
Coist, if it's not Bodo Glimt, who's it going to be?
I've said right for the start of the competition, Paris, and I ain't changing. Right for the start of the competition.
None of you are saying Arsenal.
Well, they could win it, but you asked me who I think will win it. Arsenal could, of course they could.
Of course,
win
I could.
it. But you've asked me who I think will win it.
They've got a brilliant chance with that draw, haven't they?
I'm going to say Arsenal win the Champions League. I think
Are you
Manchester.
saying that because of the draw?
I think Manchester City will win the Premier League, but I've not seen a team yet, certainly over 2 legs, that I think can beat Arsenal. I think once they get to the final, their class will shine through. I think if they play one of the English sides, I like them. I think they're going to win something major this season. I don't think they'll win the Premier League. I like Arsenal to win the Champions League just because I can see them in the final easy enough. I could see any of the teams in the top half that have been mentioned getting knocked out.
They've got a great chance with the draw.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I'm going to go Barca.
Barca?
Yeah, I'm going
Oh,
Barca.
that's a romantic one.
No, do you know what? I think with the draw, obviously it favours that side. Yamal, Rafinha, Lewandowski, Pedri, De Jong. The manager's already won it. They play super aggressive. When it gets to those games, you'll probably play a little bit deeper. I think Barca could beat anybody on that day.
Do you know the best? We could have wee Joe, Crouchy, Julian, all the guys here, and they could. Crouchy could go for Liverpool, Joe could go for Chelsea, Julian could go for City. That's how it is. That's how this tournament is at this moment in time.
And the good news is we get to follow it all the way to the final in Budapest, in the Puskás Arena, which is going to be fantastic. So that's the last 16. Owen likes Barcelona. Ali likes Bodo Glimt, stroke Paris Saint-Germain. Stevie's on the defending champs as well. I've gone for Arsenal. You can follow the Champions League right the way to what's sure to be a thrilling conclusion on TNT Sports and Discovery Plus. Thanks for joining us. We'll speak to you soon.